let's do that. I suppose we can react to this video here. Not sure what channel I'll put it on. It's I think it's relationship issues here. The video is called "Run If She Says This: 5 Things Women Say That Are Major Red Flags." Wow. I'm curious what this person has to say. Do we trust her? I mean, she's a woman telling us about red flags about women. Now, I'll let you be the judge. Is she a woman? Or is she is she a cis woman? Or is she a trans woman? I just want to be accurate here. Okay? I'm gonna go with trans woman. Okay? Look at the shoulders. They're pretty tough looking. She looks like she could pick me up. She could pick me up over her shoulders, and she could probably break my back. Okay? She could be my bane. Okay? And that's a good thing, though. That's a good thing. She's a strong woman. Let's play this.
If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and we're back at it here with things women say that are major red flags. So I recently did a video of 5 things that women say that are huge red flags that all of you should be looking out for, and you guys loved it so much I figured I would include a little part 2 here for all the things that I missed in the first one. And make sure you stick around until the very end here if you want the bonus tip of the century.
Ooh, a bonus
Starting
tip.
off really strong here with number 1, a real man would fill in the blank. Fill in the blank here with legitimately anything she wants from you that doesn't actually require or involve you being a real man. A real man wouldn't care about my body count.
okay.
A real man would buy me a Birkin bag. A real man would fly me out to Cabo. Would he though? In my eyes, a real man wouldn't be dating anyone who said something to him like this. This kind of talk is just very silly to me. There's going to be a couple things on this list that kind of go along with this one because it insinuates that unless you are a certain way or you're doing a certain thing, then you're not worthy enough or you're not deserving of her. And people, again, who talk like this, as I mentioned in the last red flag video that I did, often hold their partner or the people in their lives to an incredibly high standard, an unrealistic standard, if I'm being totally honest.
I agree with that so far. I mean, everything she's saying right there is on point about the whole, like, a real man would do that, you know, kind of like shaming you for not living up to her expectations. She wants you to do better, to be better. She wants you to do something to satisfy her desires, her interests. And if you fail to do so, oh, you're not a real man. Now, and also imagine if you flipped it. Imagine if the tables were turned. Imagine you did this to her. Oh, a real woman wouldn't say that. Oh man, they would have a problem with it, wouldn't they? If you're in a relationship, let's say it's a early one, and it seems, honestly, I'm gonna put myself there. If any relationship you're in, if you are just like initially dating, been dating for a couple months, and they start pulling that a real man would do this, or a real man would do that, you definitely need to just not put any more time or energy into that. That's already messed up, okay? And I would say just avoid it altogether, okay? But let's say you invested years into the relationship, you had many anniversaries, many nice dinners, many nice time together, moments together. You have developed you had your ups and downs during that, at that point. And then she starts doing that. You might want to check her. Be like, look, that you got to stop that. It wouldn't be like, oh, a real man would do this, real man. Okay. A real woman would do this. A real woman would do that. Oh, you don't like that. That's how it feels. That's how it feels there. We could share that. Because people don't like that. People don't like being belittled like that. So anyway.
These type of people often hold themselves to very low standards, so it just doesn't add up. Insinuating
Yeah.
that someone is not a real man because they don't agree with you or go along with what you say or fit your agenda is just so silly. Not only silly, but it's also incredibly manipulative, in my opinion. If someone tries
Oh,
to use this
100%.
type
That's
of
what they're trying
language
to
with
do. They're
you
trying to
in order to
manipulate.
make you feel like you need to do something or guilt trip you into doing something,
Yeah.
chances are this person just isn't right for you and they're probably a little bit toxic. And think
A
about the
little bit.
girls that are normally the ones saying things like this. When I picture a girl who's saying a real man wouldn't care about my body count, you get what I'm saying. And this point here kind of leads me into my next point, number 2, which is if you really liked me, you.
Now, I'm going to pause it right there. A real man wouldn't care about my body count. The reason why, well, maybe not all men, but the reason why some men, I'll say most men, care about the body count is because it's not for the, it's all worn out like a shoe, like a used shoe down there, okay? It's not that, though that may play a factor. Well, for some men, for sure. But the thing with the body count with women could also be used with men as well. They're concerned that you had all these prior relationships. What's going on with that? Because with each relationship, there's baggage. There's some sort of issues. There may be issues, especially if they're like long-term relationships. Maybe that relationship was really defined by some really hardcore kinky fetish stuff. Maybe it was maybe it was described, or you could describe it in it was good for a while, but then some really toxic elements came out, or maybe there were some abusive issues that came out. Maybe there's something about that ex that the current boyfriend or girlfriend needs to know about, should know about, for their own safety. Every time you have an ex, every time you have someone in your past, your body count, that contributes to that concern, to that worry there. If you have like 5 previous partners, you have 5 previous loads of baggage, of potential drama that could come up at any time, okay? If you have quite a bit, then it also might be a concern about, disease. Like if you have 20-something, 20-plus previous partners, then it would be another person's right to be like, well, before we could do this, have you had a test? I mean, are you good down there? Because I don't want to find out the hard way, so to speak. It's a fair question to have, and women that get all defensive about that, they think you're trying to shame them. They may think you're trying to like slut shame on that. You could be the dirty slut, be a dirty slut, but I want you to be clean. Be clean. And I'm not one for sharing. So if you're gonna be a dirty slut, you be my dirty slut, and that's it. So I don't share. Okay. So if we're gonna make this work, we'll make it work. I just need to know if you have prior exes that are gonna be a potential problem, and all that. But yeah, that's the thing about that. Anyway, let's move on to the next point.
Would, again, fill in the blank here with something that she wants from you or something that she wants you to do for her. The problem with this is it creates a very manipulative mindset around why you should or shouldn't be doing something. Instead of her just being able to express what she wants and what she needs from you, as you do in a healthy, happy, flourishing relationship, she's guilt tripping you into doing something and making you feel like you aren't worthy of her or you aren't good enough if you don't do what she wants, which is not good if a man does this or a woman does this. It's equally manipulative on both sides, in my opinion. And I don't think guilt tripping someone into doing something really leads to any kind of good result. And another thing I want to point out about this type of language is we have different love languages. Not all of us have the same love languages in a relationship. I might feel the most love from acts of...
This might sound a little gay, but love language is very important. I want to make sure, did I miss something? Is this still part of the first thing? Because it sounds like it is. It sounds, if you really liked me, you would. Okay, this is another variation of a guilt. Okay. If you really like me, you would do this. If you really like me, you would do that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's just manipulative games. And if for any woman who does that, and they have a problem with it, you have a problem with what they're saying. Imagine if the tables were turned. Imagine if you're like, I'm really into butt stuff. If you really like me, you would let me, stick a right up your butt, stuff like that. And, um, she's going to have a problem with that if she's not into that thing. So, I mean.
To me, you would, again, fill in the blank here with something that she wants from you or something that she wants you to do for her. The problem with this is it creates a very manipulative mindset
100%.
Around why you should or shouldn't be doing something. Instead of her just being able to express what she wants and what she needs from you as you do in a healthy, happy...
Oh, look at that. Look at the head bobbing. Of course, it's like, if you really like me, you would let me do this, let me do that. It's like, what? You are using your you're using your pussy as a weapon. You're using your pussy as a weapon. That's what you're doing. You're using your affection as a weapon, as a way to manipulate. You want this relationship to work. You want it to last. You like being with me. You like me being your house squeeze. You like that? Well, guess what? It could all go away if you don't let me do X, Y, and Z. By X, Y, and Z, she means maybe previous guys she met before, maybe people at the workplace. Maybe it's just really dumb things that she probably shouldn't do, but she wants to do, that are pretty risky and all that. But,
the flourishing relationship, she's guilt tripping you into doing something and making you feel like you aren't worthy of her or you aren't good enough.
Like, you know what? How about you do all the chores? You're doing everything. You're doing everything in the home. That stuff gets annoying, right? That stuff. That's my. I guess my issue. There's one thing that my wife and I butt heads about at times. Is who is doing the chores. It should be 50-50. That's how I look at it. It should be 50-50. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like one does the other, one does that. Okay. But with that said, it's never done like, well, if you really like me, you would do this. If that came up, I'd be like, whoa, you're crossing the line. What are we talking about here? I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on a little strike on what you want me to do until you get your act together. No, not really. Because I don't want a messy home. But anyway. So what I'm saying is I need to order myself a maid outfit because I do a lot of the cleaning at the house.
If you don't do what she wants, which is not good if a man does this or a woman does this. It's equally manipulative on both sides, in my opinion. And I don't think guilt tripping someone into doing something really leads to any kind of good result. And another thing I want to point out about this type of language is we have different love languages. Not all of us have the same love languages in a relationship.
Man. I'll lead you on the right
I might
path.
feel the most love from acts of service, and my fiance might feel the most love with...
Oh, I was going to say, what you said about love language is 100%. Love language is I guess the research behind it, I don't know 100% because I haven't read that. I'm not going to pretend to. But there does seem to be truth to that people, they communicate, I guess, love in various ways. And, yeah. It's something you usually get through, like, counseling and all that.
Physical touch. So making sure you understand your partner's love language and how they feel.
Physical touch, blowjobs in the morning.
I think is really important.
I tell you what, you want this relationship to last? My acts of service or my love language is blowjobs in the morning. No blowjobs in the morning, no love from me. That's how it's gonna work. You want to know how effective that is? There aren't any BJs in the morning, I'll tell you that much.
crucial for a healthy relationship. I do think for a relationship it's important to understand and know how your partner feels loved by you. And some people have crazy expectations, and no matter what you do, you're never going to reach them. So trying to win over or continue with someone like that is just exhausting and pretty much a waste of time until they kind of take a look at themselves and say, you know what, I'm being really unrealistic. I'm expecting this guy to be 10 out of 10 perfect Prince Charming when I don't even do anything for him. So being with someone who is self-aware and holds themselves to the same standards that they hold you to, I think is really important. Another thing I want to mention here is really just the way that this is phrased. So instead of saying, if you really liked me, you would buy me flowers. That's very manipulative and guilt tripping again. Instead, if you want flowers, just say, hey, it really makes me feel special and so loved by you when you buy me flowers. You're just communicating how something that someone does makes you feel. You're expressing that you enjoy and you like when your partner does this, and you like the way that it makes you feel without guilt tripping them into doing it. Number 3 is a doozy, and it's one that I hear so often, and it makes me just go insane, okay? If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Oh,
dear Lord, who made this a thing?
That's rich. That's okay. Wait. That is a load of crap there. That is a load of crap. If you can't handle me at my worst. I don't want to handle you at your worst.
Does this, and you like the way that it makes you feel without guilt tripping them into doing it. Number 3 is a doozy, and it's one that I hear so often, and it makes me just go insane, okay? If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Well, what is your worst? What are we talking about? Is your worst going to be like you're like doped out of your mind, like you're on a heroin binge or something? Okay, let's say you started dating this girl. You're like a month in, 4 months in, and she like you find out that she's like a dope fiend. All right, you find out the reason why she's been kind of distant sometimes is because not very consistent with her meetups and all that is because she has another relationship, and the relationship is with Snow White. Okay, well, Snow White's actually, I think, for cocaine. Maybe it's what's the heroin metaphors? What's that? Just chasing the rabbit. How about that? She likes to chase the rabbit. Okay, and it's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I mean, if I'm only like 5 months invested in a relationship, I find out that she's some sort of dope fiend. I mean, I'm done with that. Like, I'll be like, look, I'll tell you what, like, you need to get help. And go get help. That's it. I'm not gonna get absorbed into that, succumb to that. But my point of bringing that up is, if that's her worst, I don't want anything to do with that. Okay? How about that? If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Imagine if men said that. Imagine if a man said that to a woman. A man that was like very handsy with his wife. Okay? Imagine they were married for like, I don't know, 10 years or something. And like he's very handsy with her, starts slapping her around. Boo, 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 boo. Okay? One night, a double slap. And then a gut punch. I don't know, and it slammed her down. Okay? It's like wrestling. I don't know why he's doing this. But he's doing it. And she goes to call the cops, be like, stop. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. What is she going to do? She's going to call the cops. You're going to be divorced. Okay? You're going to go to jail. You're going to have no rights to the kids. You don't deserve me at my worst. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. You know what? Your best isn't as good as you think it is. How about that too? Okay? How about your best is actually just not even a notch higher than your worst? Playful Bite says, do the dope with her. If my life was in order and I could manage it, maybe, but like, no. I'm not going to play around with hard stuff when It could easily mess me up. I already know I have an addictive personality. Like hard stuff like that, it would ruin me. So I know that much. I never touched cocaine, never will, because it would ruin me. It would be over. I wouldn't be able to quit. I don't think. Anyway, but yeah, if you can't handle me at my worst, very coercive, manipulative, little psychological war games at play.
Dear Lord, who made this a thing? Every time I see someone post something like this,
Taylor
it
Swift
just makes
did.
me want to vomit.
I think someone did. It was a Taylor Swift. Was it some sort of pop star? I think someone used it in their song. They use it in all their songs now, Honestly, that's a whole other tangent. I guess you could say one reason I got into like Japanese metal, Japanese music really is like, I don't know. Maybe it's easier for me to not be so concerned when I don't understand what they're saying, because like it seems like just the mainstream stuff and in the West, it's like regurgitated bullshit, nonsense, platitudes that don't mean anything, and it's just nonsense. Anyway, let's just play the rest of this.
So you're saying if you at your worst is slashing my tires, I'm supposed to wait around to find out what your best looks like?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Don't be a bigot, okay? Don't be making that face. So what if I slashed your tires? I didn't slash all of them. I only slashed one, okay? All right? I told you it was going to happen if you didn't return my calls, okay? All right? I still haven't talked to you about why Steven was calling your phone. You left your phone on the couch the other night, and as Steven was calling, you said Steven was your brother. I answered it, and he told me that, no, he is a brother. So, and you didn't tell me that. And actually, his name isn't even Steven. It's Tyrone. There's a bunch of things you didn't tell me. That's why I slashed your tires, okay? There's a bunch of things you didn't tell me, okay? So that's why I did it, okay? All right? I'm trying to handle you at your worst. You can't handle me at my worst? Oh, so you speak Japanese, understand what the songs are about? No, I don't, which is actually helpful in that matter. I guess if I did speak Japanese and knew what the songs are about, then maybe I'll have the same complaint. But I do translate the songs to figure out what they do sing about. For content for the Rant and Chill channel. Anyway.
No, thank you. And if that's the case, I better at least see you fixing it once you've slashed it like an Indy 500 pit crew or something. But really here, all joking
You're not
aside,
gonna
how about
see
we start
that,
taking
princess.
accountability for these worst parts of ourselves instead of just telling someone that they have to deal with it? How about we take a deeper look at that and get to the root of the problem and fix these things, or at least work on them about ourselves, instead of just dumping all of our problems or our worst parts of ourselves onto our partner. This is probably the one that just drives me the most crazy. I hate when people say this, and I think it's just incredibly narcissistic and not someone that you would want to be with that's saying something like this.
And the way when they say it, though, they think it's very
Number 4,
profound.
she gives ultimatums. If you want to see me again, you have to do blank. If you want to see me again, you have to take me to this really nice restaurant. I'm only going to go on a second date with you if you take me here, or buy me this, or pay me this amount of money. The list goes on. It's one thing to set boundaries and express what you want and what you need from someone, as I mentioned earlier in the video, but it's incredibly different to frame it in this manipulative way and give them an ultimatum. You have to do this for me, or you better do this for me, or else. In my opinion, I think this is just very controlling and unhealthy, and I don't think a relationship that involves...
Well, maybe they're just trying to motivate you to finally do what you're supposed to do, okay? Now, I get it. You know, manipulation games can be kind of toxic. But maybe if you actually did the dishes for once, after all, I'm the one who cooks. I feed you and me. Why am I the one also doing the dishes? Why don't you do the dishes? Why don't you finally do the dishes? You say you're going to, but you don't. They sit in the sink, and then they stay overnight. Roaches come in. That's no fun. Do you want a house full of roaches? You seem like you don't mind. So I've been telling you to do it. You've been saying you're going to do it. So here's what's going to happen, princess. You are going to do the dishes. And if you don't, I am no longer cooking food for you. In fact, and then don't expect me to go halvesies on any sort of dinners or anything like that. In fact, if you want to get food or anything, that's coming out of your money. Wait, the problem is we live together. It's kind of, I tell you what's going to happen. Maybe, you got me in a situation. If I don't do the dishes, the roaches come in. I'll be like a house full of roaches. I like it. I hope you like a house full of roaches. I tell you what I'll do. I will get all the dirty dishes and put them on your side of the bed. That's what I'm going to do. All the dirty dishes. I'll just pick them out of the sink, put them on your side of the bed. If you don't do them, okay? You like that? You like that situation? You like the ultimatum there?
Constant ultimatums from either partner is a healthy one. And again here, this comes down to communication and being with someone who is on the same page as you. If you say something to someone like, well, I'm not going to date you unless you think this way, or unfollow this person. Or
oh man, if you get that early on, it's time to jet. And they're like, I'm sorry, we're not going to have any sort of relationship here. I was thinking about banging you, but I see that you are, anything really. I mean, you're like, it's probably something political. You're kind of a bigot. I think you might be a bigot because you don't have like a BLM like or something. I don't know, something stupid. I don't think that would be an issue. But like little things will come up. Oh, you say you don't like Taylor Swift? Well, that's gonna be a problem because I'm a Swiftie. And if you say you don't like Taylor Swift, you better change that. Otherwise, there's no sex tonight. I'll be like, well, then I guess I really like Taylor Swift. And then, of course, that's one big lie. Because they'll play their manipulative games, and then we'll play ours. That's the thing. That's what happens here. And once you start doing that, especially early on, that is not a relationship you want to have anything to do with long term. That is a temporary interaction.
Do this. Maybe it's just not meant to be, right? I mean, I think we have to understand you're not going to be compatible with everyone, and being with someone where you can find common ground and have values and morals and ideas about life that align is important, and giving ultimatums is not part of that equation. So say you're following an ex on Instagram and it makes your girlfriend uncomfortable. So the ultimatum she gives you is, hey, if you don't unfollow your ex on Instagram, we're over. I'm breaking up with you. Versus her expressing her wants and her needs from you and how she's feeling. So she could say, hey, I just want to let you know it makes me really uncomfortable that you're still following your ex on Instagram. I just want you to be aware of that and how it makes me feel. And then
that's a better approach. You're trying to get the same result. It's just a different approach how to do it. People don't want to be shamed into something or coerced into something. If you approach it with some empathy and understanding, that would be a lot more effective than being like trying to be a bully. Okay.
Then what you do with that information is up to you. And if you don't unfollow her, then she can look at it and say, okay, he would rather follow his ex on Instagram than, consider the way that I'm feeling about it. And that's a red flag to me, and I don't want to be with someone like that. So I hope you guys can kind of see the difference there of an ultimatum, you have to do this, being very controlling and manipulative, versus I'm expressing to my partner how I feel, and what he does with that information is up to him.
Right,
and maybe, if he continues to do something that makes me uncomfortable or makes me upset, then that's a red flag in my eyes, and I can, decide what I want to do with this situation going forward.
Right.
Versus being so controlling of like, you have to unfollow this girl and that girl, and you can't like this stuff, and just being so controlling and puppeteer of your partner. The way that you express your feelings or your wants or your needs, as I mentioned a million times, to the people that you're dating is really important. And I don't think giving ultimatums is healthy. Ultimately, I think it's controlling and manipulative from both parties. And number 5, the last point on my list here before I give you the little bonus tip I mentioned in the beginning, is this is just how I am, or that's just how I am, you have to deal with it, which kind of ties into the point I made earlier. Another one here that's just an extreme example of a lack of accountability and honestly just immaturity. So instead of trying to grow and evolve as a human and take a look at those parts of yourself,
caught me giving a blowjob to your brother.
Play the victim. And then they use the excuse of, well, this is just how I am. You can either leave or deal with it. Okay, I'll leave. Thank you. So really with this example and other things that she could say that are kind of similar to this is just seeing a incredible lack of accountability, which you do not want to have in a partner. If I give you any piece of advice in this video, it's to really make sure that the person you're with takes accountability for themselves, their actions, and again, as I mentioned,
100%. You know, this Courtney Ryan person, I started it judging her by the way she looks. But the advice is pretty good. This is decent advice here. Definitely warning signs to worry about. You know, the other guy, I did a reaction on my other channel, Coach Redpill. He gave some interesting advice about damaged women. But if you followed his advice, just about every woman you'll ever meet is going to be damaged. Because if they have a tattoo anywhere, then they're going to be damaged. Well, okay, I mean, I guess there's a lot of damaged women out there. I mean, there is. You're going to have to go to, like, Indonesia, maybe find a woman who doesn't have a tattoo. But you know what? They might be damaged. Because if they were fondled as a kid, they're damaged. Okay? And, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what happens over there. Then again, you know. There's a part of me that don't really care that much. But yeah, this advice is good.
Mentioned before, holds you to the same standards that they hold themselves at. It's incredibly frustrating and exhausting to be with someone who holds you to these unrealistic, crazy standards and expects you to just be okay with everything and anything that they do, even if it's the worst thing ever. But then when it comes to them, they hold themselves to really low standards, and it's, again, just very exhausting, and I wouldn't wish that for any of you. So just really keeping in mind here and looking at, does this girl take accountability, or is she constantly playing the victim, pointing fingers at everyone else, and just acting like she can do no wrong? You do not want to be with her.
She's constantly playing the victim. I don't know how many times she tried to get on try to tell her family, my family, which she's not supposed to talk to her family, okay? First off, okay? She tried to tell her family and then my family and then my friends that, you know, she keeps on getting these bruises. You know, she's trying to play the victim. And, you know, she's using a bruise kit, okay? It's just, no, that would be wild. That'd be wild. Okay, but this was good advice. Definitely followed that advice. That's what I could say.